or not?
Safety belt always.
Okay, because you never know with you.
Sure, anders dan gaan die alarm afgaan.
How you're driving.
No, the car's alarm's gonna freak out if you don't wear a safety belt.
Safety first.
Safety first, always.
Sure, het is nogal bezig hier vandag.
Hot, hot. The aircon. Gaat jy. I brought a power bank.
Oh,
for
wow.
in case.
Finally.
And there's extra batteries in the back.
You're so organized.
For in case, because I don't know how long it's gonna last. It's 100%, but we'll
stunning.
see. We'll see. Bye, house.
The roads have seriously been more quiet.
Have they?
Yeah, ek dink dis vir die skoolvakansie. So my solution for the traffic problem is dat al die kinders moet maar net by die huis bly permanently en op hulle rekenaars skool gaan. Don't you think it will solve the traffic issue?
Well, to solve the traffic issue, but I don't think that's for everyone, you know. I think there's a lot of kids who will thrive in an environment like that, but not for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think die mamas gaan mal gaan.
Yeah, but that's you know, there's people like us for that, and
True.
there's medication.
Medication. It's funny. So what's been happening in your world?
Ja, wel so ek het nogal baie kliënte nou wat met die issues deal, what I've been talking about. Want jy weet maar when you start opening a door
inside yourself.
Yeah,
yes.
Basically first before opening it anywhere else. Dan gebeur goeders.
Yes.
So ja, dis maar typies daai cliché ding, which is always, clichés are always true, maar ding van ja, what you put out is what's going to happen. So ja, dit was nogal interessant. So
you mean like their fears and things, and it ends up manifesting, and also good things, and it ends up manifesting.
Yes.
So they're starting to see that now.
ja.
Oh, that must be overwhelming for them.
Ja, dit is interessant. But yeah, so since I've changed a bit of direction, I'm getting a lot of that type of thing. So ja, dis beteken net interessant om to sift deur what is really happening and what people are imagining is happening.
That's a tough one sometimes.
Ja, so that is interessant, but yeah, not challenging, but let's call it interesting.
Interesting.
Ja, maar vandag wil ek het actually gedink vandag, we must talk about the ultimate question.
What's the ultimate
Are you ready?
question? What's the ultimate
Are
question?
you ready for the ultimate question?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So the question that everybody has been asking lately. It's like,
I have an idea.
how did it all start?
Oh yes, the most popular question.
Ja, hoe het jy geweet dit is wat jy moet doen? How did it start? So I want you to start with that, and dan sal ek ja, want nee, ek seriously, daar's baie mense wat ewe skielik even responding to videos. So
really?
we just
I get it a lot in sessions.
Rarig.
On the walk out of the session to the gate.
No, I actually get it a lot in the walk into the session.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I get it out
en
of
dan
the
is
session.
ek soort van, you know, I don't really want to waste your time that you're paying for to talk about my life.
Exactly.
Maar toe dink ek as ons weer hierdie tipe video doen,
let's do it.
Then maybe we can answer that question for people. So yeah, I know it's a personal question.
How did you know?
Yeah, how did you know this is what you're meant to do, and how did it start for you doing it full time?
It's a very complicated story, hey?
Well, we have time.
Yes,
we have traffic.
Time. Okay, so I guess if I really have to think about it, like hindsight is always 20/20, hey? When you're sitting on the other side of everything, then you're like, oh, look at that. You always actually knew, but you didn't know what it was. And that's my thing. I knew for a long time there was something different, but I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know what to name it. Okay, so if I really have to think about it, where it really, I mean, there was a lot of instances before this, but definitely when I was like in the 8th grade, like the beginning of high school, I started to get a lot of messages that would sort of guide me into good situations and messages that prevented me from getting into bad situations, especially in high school when there's a lot of things going on and a lot of friends and a lot of groups of friends, a lot of situations, and there was a lot of those sort of messages came through to me like, no, don't go there, no, that's not going to be good, go here. And that, like, I don't know what it was though. I was just like, oh, okay, this is like, doesn't everyone have this? Like, I honestly thought everyone had this. And then, like, at the end of 8th grade, I remember distinctly, there was like a school function, you know, like those graduation nights or like award openings, those really boring things, you have to put your school uniform on, your tie and everything.
It's like rite of passage in the young adult's life.
I hated high school, but anyway, so I was getting ready, I was fixing my tie and everything, and somebody said to me, just make sure you look extra neat tonight. And I was like, huh? I was like,
don't tell me you got to be prom queen.
No. I was so not a prom queen. No, and it said you're going to win tonight. And I was like,
okay.
What the hell? I've never won anything, you know, like, you know. And that night, I won a trophy for like the best project in the year or something.
Oh wow, your parents must have been so proud.
I don't know, I was shaking because I was like, I've never won anything, and somebody told me earlier I'm going to win and now I'm winning, so what the hell is this now? What the fuck? And then like that kept happening, and distinctly I remember also like in the 10th grade somewhere, I was working on a project and there was this particular song in this project. It was like, It's Raining Men. And I was sort of doubting it, like, is this going to work? Is this the right thing to do? Like, I'm not so sure. And like, as I'm thinking this, I'm walking like into a spa and It's Raining Men was playing. So I was like, so it was like little coincidences and things. And I honestly thought everyone had this all the time.
Yeah.
And it's only in my 20s where someone actually said to me, what are you talking about? Like, that doesn't happen to people. I was like, what do you mean? Like, you just hear it, you know? And they were like, no. I'm like, you just know it? And they were like, no. I'm like, but you can see it, right? And they were like, what are you talking about? Are you like a cuckoo here or something? And this person literally thought I was like crazy because to them this was completely foreign. And then I think, although people did tell my mother I was psychic, I remember her distinctively telling me, oh, people say you're psychic, people say you're psychic. I was like, what the fuck is psychic? I don't know what that is, like, I don't know. But I had a deep draw towards astrology, towards, I had tarot cards at age 11 already.
Wow.
I didn't know what they were, but I had them. Stuff like that. Like, I had the instincts, and I always wondered if everyone saw what I saw. And I remember questioning this at preschool already. And I was walking through the playground, and I was thinking, does everyone see what I see? And in that moment, the concept was too big for me to comprehend. So I was just like, of course they do.
Yeah.
And I made the choice to believe that.
Yeah.
And anyway, so obviously through life I learned it's not like that.
Okay.
And then eventually I was studying psychology, and there was this thing on existential crisis. And there was this scientist, Viktor Frankl, I think, Frankl.
Yes.
And he was saying, if there's purpose in suffering, it ceases to be suffering.
Yes.
And I was like, there we go, I need to find out why all this weird stuff is happening to me, because it's really making me question myself and my sanity and everything, and I'm suffering with it. And so I went, and I was having like not a panic attack, just a very overwhelmed moment when I was like in this tent. It's another story in Oudtshoorn on the mountains.
Sure.
And
was this a church revival tent?
No.
Okay.
It was like accommodation. No, it was like accommodation I booked. And I thought it's like chalets and ended up being a tent, and I didn't do camping at that stage. So it was like, anyway, so this email came through and it was a psychic. It was so random. And I was like, okay, maybe I was just going to speak to her. And within 5 minutes of seeing her, she was like, listen, you're psychic and you're getting sick because you're not working. And I was like, yeah, people always said that, but I don't know what that is really. And like, I don't get it, I don't understand it. And like, what do you mean? And then she was sort of like, it was the second time I saw her. And then she said, okay, listen, you're in such a deep state of denial. I'm going to have to show you that you can do this. So the next person that comes in, because you're already over your hour session now, so the next client that comes in, you're going to read it.
Wow.
And I was like, what the hell? Anyway, the guy walks in, sits down, she explains to him that I'm in denial and that he's not going to get a reading. And he was just more than happy to be part of the situation at that point. And he sat down and she said to me, just tell me what you see. And I was sort of nervous, so she said, told the guy to give me something to hold, which I now learned is psychometry. So he gave me, I don't know, a watch or keys or something. And I held it, and immediately I just started to speak.
Yeah.
And there was like this thing about, I will never forget that reading. It was like a thing about a caterpillar digger loader, you know, those yellow digger loaders. and something, I remember my heart feeling very heavy.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of other stuff, and it turns out this guy came for a session. His boss sent him because he's like an engineer that works on boarding the roads with the digger loaders, and his girlfriend just broke up with him, and he's becoming a risk on the road because of his grief.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's exactly what I said.
That's amazing.
And then after that, there was a couple of people just started coming. I was doing like readings for 100 rand. And then people just started to speak, I guess. And people, started to speak. And I remember waking up as well on my birthday. How old was I? 27th? 26th?
Wow, they are.
Woke up on my birthday and somebody just said to me, change.
You mean in like going in full time as a career?
Yes, and going in full time as a career. It's like change over.
Yeah.
And I knew in that moment that I just had to give this a shot. I had to do this.
Just from what I've gathered from talking to different people, I think a big misconception is that people think of hulle dink dat ons begin dit eers te doen as 'n werk and then suddenly you become psychic.
No.
Because there's people doing that apparently. I don't know how it works. Ek weet nie. Verstaan?
So they just start doing it?
Yeah, and then they're psychic because they start doing the work. En dit maak vir my sin.
No, you gotta be psychic first.
Jy bedoel, dit is iets wat jou hele lewe daar is.
Yeah, and I mean,
I don't think as a child, you ever think this is going to be the career.
No, because I remember...
Just because you can see things and you experience... Want ek het gedink ek's mal.
Me too, that's why I went to go to get help. I honestly thought I was going to get locked up. Because if I think now back as well, obviously, again, hindsight 2020, like just after my grandfather died, I would see him in the sky, basically. Yeah. And I would feel spirits sitting on my bed with me at night, and I was scared. And so I was very scared of the dark as well as a kid.
Yeah.
And I kept feeling like there was something is going on here, like there's something in my space. And then when I would be like, okay, I'm scared, then I'll start to see the faces.
Yes.
And they'll come and they stand around my bed and they'll just tell me like, you're safe, you're fine, you're okay. Then I can calm down and I can sleep. Because now I know what it is.
Yeah.
But I always felt a presence.
Yes.
But at that age,
you don't know. I mean, what do you relate that to?
Nothing. There's nothing out except maybe Casper the Ghost.
Ons is vandag in ander tye. Dit is vandag baie makliker vir kinders en vir jong mense en ook ouer mense om te relate tot iets van wat is dit waartoe ek gaan. So my bedoel in die tye wat ons daardeur is.
No, nothing. I mean, not even.
There wasn't even internet when I was a child.
Yeah, neither did I have internet.
Daar was kind of boekies in die biblioteek, maar ook nie rarig, want goed is mos weggesteek vir almal.
Yeah, you didn't have access to it either. Like, I know probably in the library where that type of stuff was, it was like age restricted and that type of thing. And I mean, there wasn't really movies or books or anything you could relate it to. I mean, like mediums weren't even really on TV at that time. There was no information.
Correct.
I mean, this was also probably just after the Satanic Panic in the 80s.
Yeah, I think it was still during.
Probably,
Ek glo persoonlik daar's nog steeds 'n Satanic Panic in ons land.
I also think so, with the stuff that's coming out.
Ja, daar's mense wat nog steeds alles sien as duiwels en so I don't think the Satanic Panic is over, but definitely the part where the government was involved in saying pas op, jy weet dit. That part is over. But that's still instilled in a lot of people.
True.
En ek bedoel ek onthou met my ek kan nie eers vir jou sê, I mean even since I remembered ek glo persoonlik dat as ek wil nie te lank oor dit praat nie, maar ek was in die laaste trimester wat ek in my ma se maag was ek al psychic. And that's how I guided him away from the Laingsburg flood. Ek bedoel as ek daar high inside soos jy sê, kyk. En ek onthou dat ek vir my ma gesê het, ek was 5 jaar oud, toe ek al vir gesê sy is swanger met 'n dogtertjie, voor sy dit nog geweet het. En toe hulle actually uitvind, toe was hulle half, okay, so hoe het jy dit geweet? En ek bedoel daai tyd in my verwysingsraamwerk, het ek gesê, wel liewe Jesus het dit vir my gesê.
Of course, because that's what you attuned to.
En dit is wat my verwysing was met enigiets spiritual, was liewe Jesus.
Same, I thought it was angels around my bed.
En ek bedoel, my spirit guide, wat ek daai met gewerk het en wat in die aand met my kom sit en praat het baie liewe Jesus in die Bybel gelyk, which is not really how Jesus looks, if you actually go into who Jesus really was as a person, in elk geval. En vir my, ek dink ek het net met skool begin, toe ek begin half meer ja, interact met ander kinders my ouderdom, like I think they call it your peers or whatever. En ek onthou ook, ek het na huis toe geloop, saam met die een maatjie, en ons het gepraat oor iets, en toe sê ek vir hom, jy weet, in 'n sin van, ek het vir Liewe Jesus gevra, en Liewe Jesus sê toe vir my, dit was like a daily thing that I did.
Yes, it was a normal conversation.
En die kind was so uitgevreek, want hy sê toe vir my, maar Liewe Jesus praat nie met ons nie.
Ja,
en dit was vir my baie weird,
Ja.
like, want ek het nog altyd daai link gehad, even vandag, dat as ek vra, dan kry ek dadelik antwoorde.
Ja.
So, ek wil as 'n kind, ek het heeltemal uitgevreek, en ek wil, daar was verskillende goed gewees. My oupa byvoorbeeld, die aand wat hy oorlede was, of is, toe ek al hom gesien by my, which was very far from where he actually was. Toe is hy al besig met my te praat. En toe hoor ek 'n uur later, maar hy is actually oorlede. En toe as 'n kind, jy weet, dan verstaan ek, maar hy was nou net hier in die kamer.
Exactly.
En nou sê hulle vir my, hy's in oudswelling oorlede. So it was...
I remember that crisis inside me as well, when they were like, no, but your grandfather is passed. And I'm like, but he's right here.
Ja.
What do you mean?
Ja.
Hy is hemel,
So,
wat is hy so?
ja, en wel, as 'n kind,
Is dit hemel?
jy probeer sin maak van al die goed. En later, ek bedoel, ek was seker al, ja, ek was op hoërskool, toe ek deur baie diep depressie gegaan, omdat ek glad nie kon relate met my vriende nie, en ek bedoel, ek is vreeslik geboelie op skool, as hoërskool, en ek het eendag, in 'n attempt to escape, toe ek vir lang tyd na my ouma toe gegaan, in oudswelling ook, en toe ek met haar begin praat oor wat ek deurgaan, toe sê sy vir my, maar jy sien, dit is, jy sien, want haar ma het gesien, verstaan, so, dit was altyd in die familie, in daai kant, en dis die eerste keer wat iemand actually vir my kon gesê het, dit is wat met jou aangaan, maar nog steeds, toe ek wou dit nie gehad het nie, en ek onthou ook hoe ek vreeslik gebid het, even toe ek 'n Christen was, met 'n regte Christen later, dat dit moet weggaan.
Ja,
dit is nie iets wat ek wil hê nie, en ek dink ook, weet wanneer mense na jou toe kom, even vandag, 20, 30 jaar later, en sê, ek wil so graag alles sien. And then I'm like, do you really want that? Do you actually know what that is like? En ek het altyd ook, jy weet, vir journaliste en wanneer mense vir jou begin vra, so, what is it like to be psychic? En dan sê ek weet nie, because how is it like not to be?
It's always been this.
So, how would it be like not to see stuff? Ek weet nie. So, ek probeer altyd te verstaan, nie regtig so meer die laaste paar jaar nie, maar ek het, hoe is dit vir ander mense, wat nie sien nie? Like, how is their world, how does it actually look?
And that's what I was trying to comprehend at preschool already, like, also like, do they see, what do they see? I don't know what they see.
Ja.
And I repressed a lot of stuff.
Want jy wil soos almal gewees het daai tyd. Wel, ek wou. Ja, vandag voel ek absoluut 'n volk. Ek wil hoe fit ek in.
At that age you want to fit in, you want to be normal, you want to be like everyone.
Yes, you want to be normal, but you are the most normal.
I'm so normal.
In elk geval, and I'm the most boring.
So boring.
So, ja, dit is miskien net belangrik om dit te noem as 'n agtergrond. En ek onthou, toe dit was interessant wat jy genoem van die tarotkaarte, want dit was half ook my eerste kontak met predictive stuff.
Okay.
Want voor ek met tarotkaarte begin werk het, kon ek nooit regtig vreeslik goed in context predict nie. So ek kan altyd sien rondom mense, wat soort van in hulle aura is, en what is happening in their psyche, en wie is connected aan hulle van die ander kant. Maar ek kon nooit regtig dit in 'n timeline sit nie. En dis wat kaarte vir my destyds gedoen het, van nou kan ek vir jou gesê, okay, so daai deel wat ek sien, is eintlik verlede, dit is hierdie wat jy nou besig is om te create.
Ja, so nou kan jy sin maak uit wat jy sien rondom die mens. Ja, I agree.
So dit is hoe ek daai tyd, jy weet, toe ek dit begin, en toe ek ek bedoel, as 'n party trick, initially, dit was nog steeds nie my werking, dan het ons half vreeslik gesyp geraak, saam met mense, en dan het ek my pakkaarte uitgehaal. Well, dis terrible.
That's so irresponsible.
Dit is so, ja, in hindsight.
In hindsight, it's irresponsible.
Maar dit was my eerste kind of manier hoe ek vir ander mense begin predictions doen het, as a party trick.
And then obviously you're so open then.
Yes.
Which
en
makes
dan
it irresponsible.
vergeet ek van dit,
Ja.
want dit was nou weer die joke.
Yes.
En dan 3 maande later, kom daar mense en sê, dit is onmoontlik, maar onthou jy daai aand wat jy gesê en dan sê ek nee, ek was dronk. En dit is terrible, ek weet. Ja, so daai was omtrent 18. Nee, no, please.
Please
For
don't
those
do
of you
that.
at home,
Like,
don't ever do that. It's
don't
very,
drink and
very,
take out cards.
Ja,
No, it's not very irresponsible.
Okay, maar in elk geval, so toe het ek gedink, okay, miskien kan ek hierdie goed doen. En toe het ek vir van my vriende wat deur krisisse gegaan het op daai stadium. Want mense het altyd met my kom praat in elk geval of gevoel
Yes.
ons is die mense wat obviously
Street side psychologists, I always say. Street corner psychologists. I was always a street
because
corner
if
psychologist.
that is your life theme, people will naturally be drawn to you to talk to you about
Of course,
stuff.
which is why I
En
study psychology.
Toe begin ek te voel ek kan actually vir mense regte antwoorde gee. En dan het ons na coffee shops toe gegaan of whatever, na die wat huise gehad het na hulle huise
Ja.
en dat ek vir hulle kaarte gelees. En dan ja, het hulle vir my gesê, jy weet, na die tyd of ja, mense het begin die lights gaan aangaan vir hulle.
Wow.
Ja, en toe 16 jaar terug. Dit was actually November laas maand, 16 jaar gelede. Toe het ek soort van deur 'n finansiële crisis gegaan, omdat die voltydse werk wat ek daai tyd gedoen het, het nie vir my regtig genoeg geld gemaak nie. En toe was daar hierdie tannetjie by holistic center wat toe vir my vra, hulle soek soort van weet iemand om readings te doen, court readings.
Okay.
As like a pamper day sample tipe ding.
Yes.
En dit is so ek toe begin het om dit te doen, ook maar vir R50 'n reading. Dit is actually hilarious as ek nou daaraan dink. En van daar af het dit net geklap. Pas op net vir die taxi.
Taxi is annoying.
Oh, hulle is fabulous, ek love hulle. Ek dink nie baie van die drywers weet die verskil tussen die brake en die petrol nie.
En die clutch.
En die clutch. Anyway. Maar ja, en dit het van daar af begin. En eventueel, ek dink 2 jaar later, het dit al 'n voltydse ding geraak. Want daar was regtig toe nou niks anders meer. En die deeltydse ding wat toe nou die readings was, het toe later meer geld gemaak as die voltydse job. En ek het toe maar net daai switch gemaak.
Yeah, sure. So my switch was a lot more abrupt as well. It was very stressful.
Yeah, no, you had a very
because I was also repressing it for so long.
Yes.
By the time I realized this is something I need to do, I was already getting sick.
Yeah.
And I was already going through all of the revelations and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That there was no other option.
Yes.
It was like, I always say the universe is like, well, energy in general, you can go with the flow in the sense of like making the choices and stepping in the lines that you're being guided, but if you're going to force it or like resist it, it's going to smack you down, which is what happened to me.
Maar dit moet, en ek bedoel, ek dink mense het hierdie glamorous ding van, dit is 'n soap opera, van jy gaan net een dag, jy weet, besluit jy nou, ek wil, en it's gonna be beautiful, dit is glad die cinematic.
The hardest decision of my life.
Ja, dit is, ek bedoel, it's on a soul level deep torture. As jy nie in alignment is met wat jy moet doen nie.
Torture is the right word.
En ek bedoel, ek het so nie baie nie, maar 3 of 4 loopbane probeer, rarig wat ek alles ingesit het en laat werk. En dit het eenvoudig nie gewerk nie, want dit is nie wat jy veronderstel is om te doen nie.
Exactly.
En dit is hoekom ek party daar dan weet kyk ek op die oomblik na hierdie mense wat hierdie readings oor WhatsApp doen. Hierdie 1 question to 3 question goed. Dis mense wat 'n naweek 'n tarot kursus gedoen het. En dan noem hulle self a psychic medium. I mean, just call yourself then a card reader or a fortune teller, because that is the difference between fortune telling and psychic mediums.
Definitely.
Verstaan jy?
Ja.
So, en ek bedoel, ek gee nie om dat daai mense daar is nie, maar die publiek is nie genoeg educate oor wat is die verskil nie.
What's the verskil nie? Yeah, because a lot of people also ask me, what's the difference between, say, a card reader and a psychic? And I'm saying a psychic is a lot more, you almost channel that energy in a very natural way.
Yeah.
Where a card reader is just going to rely on the cards. And
Yeah, and it's fortune telling.
And even though sometimes we do take it out a deck of cards, that is really just to make sense more on the timeline.
Of everything that we see.
Of what is going on.
Dit is verskriklik overwhelming. Jy weet, en mense, dis nog iets wat ek nie mense verstaan nie. As ek nou stap hierdie persoon in, of as ek na enige iemand kyk, I mean, it's part of our daily life.
It's daar.
Alles is daar. Dit is soos 'n kots in 'n tuimeldroër.
That is so true. Ja, of course,
ja, 'n deel van ons is nog steeds mens.
We still want to also like be sane and make sense out of the world, and that's why I pull out the cards sometimes and I just say, just shuffle here, let's just see what is important.
Yeah, exactly.
Because not everything in that
is important to know.
Is important
en
now.
baie mense is nie op die soul level wat hulle al daai goed gaan verstaan nie. Maar wat ek kan ingaan in past lives, I can go into soul purposes, karmic lessons, maar baie mense gaan nie relate to daai goed nie. Baie mense wil regtig net hoor wat is wat ek op die oomblik create and how can I change path.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's what you
and that's
go
what you
into.
focus on, but that's where you sometimes just need that extra bit of timeline differentiation.
Ja.
It's baie interessant, want it definitely is a sense of torture when you are like this and you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is also, I think, is a big differentiation, is the fact that also, like, you don't want to be this person necessarily. Like, you have to go through a process where you make peace with it and you accept it, and then you can embrace it. But initially, you do not want this.
No.
And you do not want to live like this, and you don't want your life to be like this.
Maar ek moet ook sê, en ek praat net onder ondervinding, ek sê nie dit is vir almal so nie. Die oomblik wat jy jou authentic self begin raak en daar al daai goed accept, that's when you become brilliant.
That's very true.
Want ek bedoel, dit is ook die ding van, oh, you need to be spiritual, you need to be this and that.
No.
If that's not really who you are, you're not going to be a better psychic.
Exactly.
If the psychic thing is part of you already. So hoe meer authentic jy is in yourself, meaning everything, that part of you also becomes brilliant.
Yes.
En dit is hoe ek gekom het waar ek is vandag.
Exactly.
Dit is deel van die sukses. Dit is wat my succesvol maak in dit. Baie mense dink I do magic and fuck voodoo, and I've heard so many stories. That's why our business is so successful. No. That is it. We are authentic.
Yes, and I wrote a piece last night, which I'm going to post this week still, exactly about what you're saying now. It's our year, when we reflect on our year, we don't look at, oh, did I get a certificate or a medal or a trophy or anything. Our year, we look at what did I internally go through and shift and transform, and how did that bring me my external success.
Correct.
That's how we measure where we are, by what we feel in here.
Precies.
And what we go through in here, because most of what we experience being ourselves is we experience everything. We feel everything.
And other people's stuff.
And other people's stuff. And it's how we manage that and how we transform that and how we make light out of that.
Yeah. And that's spiritual practice for me.
Yes, for me too.
Yeah.
But that is what brings us our external success at the end of the day.